is Nigel. I am the singer and songwriter of the Plymouth-based indie funk band The Curve, and this is my podcast, Songs Nobody Asked Me For. This was a bit of an impromptu one today. I've been hoping, slipping on my camera, I'm holding my camera today. I was hoping to sort of do maybe an interview or a conversation with somebody at some point, and I was thinking of Pav from my original band. That's going to happen. I was thinking of John, who I've been playing with for many years, and then I was over with Brad, just working, and Guitarist from the band, working on some sound for a while for the new guitar that I was showing off the other day, and I just suddenly said, look, would you do one of these? And he said, yeah, sure. So coming up now is an interview that I did with Brad. It's just hearing a bit about his history of being in different bands, and some covers bands, some originals bands, and then a little bit of reflection on our originals band today and what he likes about that, and the comparison of the two different experiences, really. Hope you enjoy it, and subscribe, like the episode. It's a little bit longer, sort of about 25 minutes altogether, but tried to keep them in check. So hope you enjoy it. And see you out there. Okay, so it's immediately embarrassed because I'm sort of sat here. First time, I wasn't expecting Brad to be the first person that I spoke to on this, really, and here he is. So this is Brad, a wonderful guitarist from the Plymouth-based indie funk band The Curve. I get that in whenever I can.
Absolutely.
And
has to be done.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that it would be interesting just to meet one of the guys in the band and just to talk a little bit about music, really, for a while. I suppose we're a couple of Essex boys of sorts, and a couple of East End boys in a way.
Indeed.
You were born in
London, Walthamstow.
And I lived in Walthamstow.
Yes.
And you lived in Essex, and I was born in Essex.
Oh, yes.
And we find ourselves down in sunny Cornwall.
It's a crossover.
Yeah,
and then you find somewhere really nice to live and go there.
Go there as quick as you can, really.
Yeah.
So I suppose, I know my history of my bands, watch John's done, but tell me about history of music with you. What bands have you been in? How did you get into playing in bands?
Well, back in the deep, dark days.
It might be a while.
Etc., yes. Late 70s and all that sort of thing. I've always been into music. I grew up, obviously I was born in 61, so my time period of watching Top of the Pops is when you're 10, 11, 12, 13 years old. So I grew up on the Slade and the Sweet and Alice Cooper and Mark Bolan and David Bowie and blah, 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 and all that sort of time period. And then carried on with music all the way through. But all my friends at school were into sport. None of them were really that mad on music. I was the only one really out of that lot. I think there was one other guy in my class that was into music, but he was in a different style of music, weird stuff, I thought, at the time. As I thought at the time. And then as you left school, got into early days at work, I then started going to a pub on Canvey Island, which was called the Haystack. And there used to be a band that rehearsed in the back room. And as you walk through to the toilets for the gentlemen's, you'd walk through their space, rehearsal space, and so you sort of got to know them over a couple of weeks and sort of like stayed and listened to a song. And then they played a gig. And I just got involved into it, sort of rolled into sort of supporting the band, as it were. Backstory to all this. I've always had a guitar. I never learned to play it properly, but I always had this thing. I used to plastic thing. Absolutely. Yeah. One day I'll learn. and strum around on it when I was sort of, 5, 6, 7 years old, but never had lessons, never took it to school to have lessons properly, played the recorder at school like everybody did and got bored. And then once I got involved with this band, I then began sitting down and actually sort of start playing a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. Anyway, comes to a point they needed a singer. I decided I could sing.
Yeah.
And according to these other people, I could a little bit. So I sung in this band, and that was my first ever band, and I was the singer in the band. But I always wanted to play guitar. So then I, sort of a couple of years later, we involved me having them playing guitar and singing. And then I discovered how difficult it is to actually play guitar and sing at the same time.
Indeed.
When I just sang, I could sing from my diaphragm. No problem at all, and project my voice. When I'm playing guitar, I can't do it. I can only sing from here.
Okay.
And it's a much weaker voice, which is why over the years, I've been on various bands. I've always been the backing singer. Always used to do it. And this band, I don't do it, thankfully. It's my first time I've actually had freedom from a microphone. And I'm enjoying it.
Makes a difference, because I have the opposite problem, don't I? It's singing, it's the pedals. Because I always think, well, look, there's Brad playing. He can look at his pedal anytime he wants. Oh, no, I've got to change my pedal at some point in the next 30 seconds. And I can't look. And have I got my foot in the right place to where that pedal's going to be? So it's going
Without tripping over.
Yeah, it's a complex thing, isn't it?
Headbutting the microphone, all the rest of it, yeah.
But you got more into the guitar. And
so, yeah, I got more into the guitar. And then basically that band split up. And then 2 of us from that band then formed another band with me on guitar. And that was it sort of thing as a guitar player. And... slowly but surely, various 2 or 3 bands later, and this is all in Essex. This is gigging around Southend, doing some gigs on Canvey around there, sort of thing. And back in them days, you had a magazine called Sounds.
Oh yeah.
There was no internet,
Yeah.
and you'd have Melody Maker and Sounds and various other ones, and they would have adverts in the back of these magazines. Guitarist wanted, drummer wanted, etc., etc. And one day I answered this advert, which basically wanted a second guitar player for this X-name rock band.
No.
So I applied, I got an audition, went up to the audition, got on well with the guys. Basically, they were a band that were very similar to Iron Maiden. Very similar to Iron Maiden. And they had 2 albums out. They actually got signed. And then they had a big bust up and split.
What was the name of the band?
The band was Elixir.
Elixir.
Who are still going now. They've all reformed again. They've all made up their differences and all got back together again.
As they do later on.
And they're gigging in Greece and Spain and all sorts of places. Anyway, auditioned for them, got on well with them. Yet again, East End lads, all got on well together, and I joined the band. And that band then became a band called Saratoga. And it was a typical 2-guitar British rock metal stroke band of the 80s, as it were, back in them days, with big hair. Indeed, and we gigged around and gigged everywhere doing original stuff. I think we did 1 cover in the set, that was it, sort of thing, which would rotate every now and again. And we were just one of those bands. We had a manager, we did 2 demos. One of our demos was recorded, this is letting a secret out, at the record plant up in London during the time that Bryan Adams was recording the Everything I Do For You sessions. The tape op engineer was a friend of our guitarist.
Right.
And when Bryan Adams went home, we would go in with our tape and re-record it all through all their equipment. Nice. Which made it sound very nice and polished.
I bet.
Which was very difficult to produce live because it was all nice and polished.
That's the plus and the minus of these things.
Yeah. We had a bit of a raw edge to us, and now all of a sudden we sound like this really smooth, clean band, which we wasn't really. But anyway, never mind. And like dozens and dozens of other bands at that time, we nearly made it, but we didn't. We did a showcase gig at the Dingwalls in Camden, and our singer blew his voice out after 4 songs because of the nerves. Our drummer played everything at 120 miles an hour, and we were awful that night, absolutely terrible. And 3 record companies had turned up, CBS being one of the biggest ones out of it all, and 2 independent labels. Walked out, and that was it, basically. And 6 months later, that band finished. Simple as that sort of thing. We blew our chance. And then a year later, Nirvana happened. Right. So I don't think we would have got off the ground. A little window
of opportunity.
Yeah. It was
so many people do, don't they? So many people do, or miss it, or kind of just get into sort of this.
It's making the right noise at the right time with the right haircut.
So much. I remember when we were in our band in London, the last year we were there, I always used to have like a demo tape with me, and I always had a list of gigs we were playing, just in case there was any A&R men there or anything like that. And then this one time, we finished this gig and this bloke come up to me afterwards and he said, I really like what you're doing. Have you got a demo tape? And I said, no, I don't have one on me. That's kind of didn't. And he said, when's your next gig? And I said, I don't know. We haven't got one at the moment. And then he says, I remember his name is James Dewar. He said, I'm from Island Records. And he said, I was in here and I just happened to catch the last half of your last song. Really liked it. And he said, and he gave me his card, but the way it was back in them days then, I couldn't get him after that. And then I sent him a demo and he said, I don't really like the demos so much. And I said, well, come to a gig because... And it kind of ruined the last 6 months of us playing because we kept waiting for this guy who might come and might not and never did. And it's tough.
And for all you know, not being rude or anything, but he could have been beered up on the night and thought, these are great.
Exactly.
And then when he's sober, he listens back and goes,
was. I think it's funnily enough, it was Grains that we were playing at the end, which is a song we play now. It's the only song that I've brought over from that.
Yeah.
And I think probably the energy was good in that last song. But he could well have been a little bit pissed up.
Who knows?
And also, demo tapes, for us, we weren't anywhere near in the place that you were in. We had to save up for demos and they weren't brilliant.
We did that
and
originally.
often for us, think we were a good live band, you'd lose some of that energy in the recording. So,
Yeah.
you know, and then I got messages back saying, yeah, well, I don't like this bit and this bit could be doing. And I remember getting back and saying, but wouldn't that be what you'd be doing if you were a record company and you wanted?
You'd be smoothing
But
us out.
I couldn't get anywhere.
There'd be ears listening to you
Anyway,
and
yeah.
saying, well, that's too long. That needs to be shortened and
But this is
changed
me.
and all that
Back
sort of
to
thing.
you.
No,
So
it's all right,
what did
it's
you
all
do
right.
after that? Where
So
did you
after
go?
the Saratoga thing, all split up, and Nirvana had happened, and obviously I just wasn't into that sort of stuff. That wasn't my sort of scene. So I then got into a band. By then I was manager at Honky Tonk Music, so I'm working in a music shop in Southend, and you are the hub of the wheel. Everybody comes in the shop, and you see bands form and all the rest of it. So on, and just basically got into the cover circuit, which I'd never done before really, and just did that for ages, because then by then I'm in my early 30s and you're thinking, oh, I'm too old to become a star,
Never,
as it were.
never.
And just played the cover circuit for ages and ages. Then in the late 90s, through the shop, from people coming in the shop, we had this band in Southend called the Legendary Undertakers, and dressed up as Undertakers.
As you do.
As you do. And it was quite a theatrical show they used to put on. It was only a covers band. It was only doing AC/DC and ZZ Top and just general boogie rock sort of songs. So it was nothing technical as such. But they used to play Europe. And I was really fancied the idea of that, of actually doing something, getting out there and touring a little bit. And we would go off on a Thursday afternoon and come back into England on a Tuesday, having played a festival and 3 or 4 gigs in bars and places sort of all round. Wow. Dotted across Europe as you're getting to the festival gig. The festival gig was the main highlight, and you'd play small little pubs and clubs on the way there and on the way back home again. And it was great, absolutely fantastic, living like a real musician for 4 days at a time, and then going back to reality. And the weirdest thing is when you do that, when you do come back home, and I can imagine what this is like for a band that's been off on the road for 3 months, after only doing it for 4 days, the next day you're thinking, oh, sound check in an hour. Oh, no, I've got to go home for dinner. Totally different.
Right.
Your mindset is thinking about sound check, get the sound right. Oh, this didn't sound right last night. We've got to do this and we've got to change that, blah, 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 something. And you're sitting there going, and you're having your dinner at home and you're thinking, I should be gigging. I should be doing something. And that's 4 days, just 4 days.
Yeah.
Imagine doing that for 3 months and then suddenly stopping.
Suddenly being back
Mind you,
again,
by then you're probably sick of it and glad to have stopped.
That's true.
Sort
You
of
go do your garden for a while.
And that carried on. And then, of course, we made the decision to move to Cornwall. And I came down to Cornwall and was in various cover bands, some of which were quite successful. And we built up a nice little circuit in the Liskeard and Plymouth area. And unfortunately, that split up eventually, as all bands do. Bands normally have a sort of timeline where people get bored. I got bored of playing covers, and I must admit, being out 3 Saturdays out of every 4 Saturdays, my other half, or Lynn, was basically saying to me that, like, oh, we can't go to so-and-so's birthday party, you're gigging. Oh, we can't go to so-and-so's barbecue that evening because you're gigging. And you end up with no social life because you're gigging all the time. Yeah. And you're playing covers, which... yes, you don't mind doing, but your heart and soul's not in it as such. And I got to the point where Lynn's pushing me out the door to go to a gig. Once I was there, I was fine. Met up with the people in the band, and we'd have a laugh, and we'd play and enjoy ourselves. But it was just getting me out the door originally, and I just got so sick and tired of it. And then I decided to do something different. I had a break. I had a little break, didn't have any band going for a few months. And then this band advertised online on Join My Band. And it was a singer-songwriter, wanted a guitarist.
Okay.
They were based down in Truro, and the name of the band was Landscape Society. And I went down and auditioned, got the gig, got on well with the guys, and I was with them for a couple of years or so. But the band, unfortunately, didn't go anywhere, didn't do anything. There was lots of talk. We did 4 different photo sessions in various locations in Truro Woods and all sorts of places with over 150 photographs.
Yeah, we used to do a lot of that.
None of which were released. None of which saw the light of day. And in the end, it got very frustrating and the band just imploded. And then a little while after that, I noticed this band online that for a while advertised for a guitar player, wanted to have a change of style. Indie folk rock band. And I was intrigued. Because by then I've decided I'm fed up with covers. Don't want to do covers. Don't want to learn the guitar solo that someone else has played. I quite like the idea of making up my own stuff. And when you're playing it, it's yours, whether it's good or bad. And I decided to hassle them.
Oh, yeah.
and run after them.
What sort of
And
stalk them,
basically
that
stalk
sort of
them.
thing. Oh,
Stalk
yeah,
them is
yeah.
what I did. Yes, basically the advert I found online was about 6 months old, apparently, which I didn't know. I messaged them. Yeah, messaged them. They'd already changed their mind, decided to carry on as a free piece. But no, I decided otherwise. They had no choice in this matter. And got in touch with them, and they basically offered me an audition. And we went down and did the audition. We all got on quite well. And here we are today. The Curve.
The Curve.
And it's great. I love it because we've got a singer-songwriter, this man here, and who basically gives me an open palette to say, play guitar over that. My job in the band is to set a soundscape, not to be a lead guitarist or such sort of thing, but to add a layer of music to what's already there. And I just love the fact that we're playing our own stuff to nobody. But hey, that's what happens when you're doing originals.
That's
because it's a different time. Back in the 60s, 70s and 80s, people would go to see an originals band. People don't do that anymore. They want covers or tribute all the time. We did a gig in the Jolly Sailor in Lou, and we had 2 or 3 people come up to us afterwards and actually thank us for not doing covers and saying that was so different, listening to new music. Really appreciated it.
Yeah.
And that was great. It doesn't happen very often, but it's great.
No.
I enjoy it.
I remember that. Yeah,
music.
we'd been playing as a 3-piece, and we'd kind of got to this point of feeling. I'd got to this point of feeling maybe we'd progressed as far as we could in terms of what we could do creatively without something else. I needed something else, and toyed with the idea of getting a keyboard player. Toyed with the idea of a second guitarist, but I was worried about second guitarist because I thought, and you'd fitted the bill perfectly, because I was worried. I was thinking, if we get the wrong guitarist, they're going to come along and they're going to be very, I want to do this and I want to do that, I want to do this, and I think I did a podcast earlier in this series when I was talking about how poorly I promote us. I'm not very good at promoting, and I said that one of the dilemmas is that I've been lucky enough to be in 2 or 3 really nice bands with nice people. We never fall out, and the Curve is like this. We never fall out. We all get on. But what it means is when you've got really nice people, you generally don't have anybody that's really good at ruthlessly selling you, really. Yeah. And so I was saying this to Graham a while back, that you know, Gray would hate to go out and do any of this. I hate to do it. You hate to do it. But I'm probably the person who least hates to do it. So I end up doing it, but I still hate doing it. Yeah. That makes sense. But the plus of it is, generally, I think the bands I've been in have lasted longer because generally people are not falling out, really. So you've come and you've fitted in perfectly, really. But got quite a long pedigree. What do you think the difference between playing in an originals band and a covers band has been for you over time? Because I'm not dissing covers bands. I'm trying really hard not to in this, but I have a little theory about why people do one and why people do the other. But I kind of
the advantage you got with covers is that the audience know the songs, obviously. It's because you pick the songs that are good. You basically experiment with songs. We always had a 3 and out type ruling with a song. If the gig's going well and you play a new song and everyone sits down and doesn't dance, then you're like, okay, they didn't really take to that one. If that happens 3 gigs, that song's out. Okay. That's no good. That don't work. That song doesn't work. Doesn't matter how much you love it, how much you love playing it, just hours you've spent learning it. Yeah. If it doesn't work, it don't work.
Good job we don't have that rule in this band, isn't it? So we wouldn't be playing anything, would we?
Absolutely. We'd be a silent band.
Depressed.
And the advantage of it is you earn money. You go out and play for £250, £300 sort of thing. Weddings, £1,000, et cetera, sort of thing. Big family parties. You got 200 people there. As long as you've got about 40 or 50 people dancing around and singing at the front, you have a great night. It is good. There's no doubt about it. But for me, you're playing the same set. You're playing the same songs. You're playing someone else's music. You're playing their guitar solos. There's no room to express yourself. And you are playing the dots. You're playing the numbers. And some people can do that. Some people are very good at doing it, and they'll do it for their entire lives and earn a very good living doing it. Tribute bands, etc. I was playing in a couple of tribute bands in Essex, and it was great for a while. But I get bored. I'm sorry, I do. I get bored, sort of thing, which is why I got bored with the last covers band I was in that was quite successful. Whereas with an originals band, I'm not bored. We're playing our music. It's your original template of songs. I'm playing my guitar parts. I mean, luckily enough, Nigel is so great that he'll say, that doesn't fit. No, I don't want that sort of thing. Or he'll say, can you put a little guitar piece in here? Something nice and mellow. Or put something a bit jagged in there, a bit grit to it, sort of thing. And that's it. I then go off and do whatever I want to do, sort of thing. And I love that freedom. It is wonderful. And I've got to the point where Nigel has played me a song earlier today that's going to be a new one. And already in my mind's eye, I've got an idea of, I don't know the chords yet, but I know the guitar sound I want to use. It's going to fit that. Straight away. It came to me straight away. I want clean sound with a tremolo on it. That's going to sound, maybe a bit of echo in the background. That's going to sound really good. Just add a layer underneath what they're doing.
We shall see how it goes tomorrow
We'll see.
night.
Yeah, I might play that and Nigel go, what a load of crap.
What a load of crap.
Turn that
I
rubbish
clearly
off.
need to be more of a dictator. But I do think it works, because I think for me, I mean, I said on a previous podcast here that I bring something along. This is part of the joy of it. You know, I'll get into something and I'll ferret away on a song sometimes for weeks.
Yeah.
Go over it and over it. And then when I bring it to the band, then it becomes something new. There's some new thing that happens, because you guys then take different bits of it. And yeah, sometimes one of our songs, I said to John, this is the bass line I want. I want this. And it's only one. And he always reminds me of it. He says, oh, this is the one you told me I had to just play this. And I say, yeah, but normally I don't. You know, and I think it's allowing people that space to create, I think, adds to the creativity.
That's what makes the curve. All our elements that we add to
Makes
it.
the curve.
Yeah, that's what makes
us
it.
so
I mean, we've had-
unsuccessful as we are.
Wow,
Yes.
yeah. You've had various songs that you've probably worked hard on, and we've played them at rehearsals. We've learnt little bits, and then I've noticed over the months that song doesn't get mentioned
get
again
done, yeah.
because it just don't work.
They don't work, yeah.
Don't sound right.
And I think, I'm okay
And we
with
might
that
revisit
now.
him later.
Back in the day, I was again talking. So you could see, well, I've been on a journey here. I used to churn out so many songs in my bands in London, so many.
Wow.
And maybe we'd just do like 2 out of 20 or something. I think a lot of people do it if they get into songwriting when they're younger. I'd be right, everywhere, I'd be writing all these songs, but 70% of them are rubbish.
No.
Whereas now, what I tend to do is I think, I'm going to write a song, and I would say probably 70% of them are pretty good, really. But when we recently did those, the 2 new ones we've got, Thinking and Everything Is Fine, I brought 4 songs to that, and 2 of them one of them I thought was going to work. The one with the slight fishy feel to it, that's what I always think, an ocean sort of feel to it, but it was because you were using a tremolo, I think, as well.
Oh,
it was
right.
nice. Another one didn't work. Those 2 worked really well. And Thinking is, everybody's favourite song at the moment.
We enjoy it.
That's okay. 50%.
So for
success
you,
rate.
do you get inspired by a chord changes when you're just plonking around on the guitar and you put a couple of chords together and go, oh, that's quite nice, and a song builds from that? Or is it a song melody comes into your head where you suddenly get a little hook in your head and go, oh, I can put chords to that?
I think it's all of those things,
Oh.
really. So I get it from noodling on the guitar. I get a little riff going. But sometimes I found more recently, especially with my sons, when we're driving places and they're playing their music, it'll often be a beat. I'll start to think, oh, I like that beat.
Yeah.
And I keep the beat in my head. And then I start singing a little riff over it. But the trouble is, as again I've talked on here, if you don't have something to record something within about the first half hour, the only way you can keep something is to sing it for about 2 hours. So a long journey, I'll be with them. They'll be
Bore
playing
everybody.
different music. Oh no, it'll be in my head. I'll be singing myself. So the one that I did in that way was Now He's in Love. You know the chorus. Now he's love is like some butterflies searching in a line. I got that driving in the car from a beat from one of my sons, and those first 2 lines. Love is whatever I just said. See, it's old man stuff.
Yeah.
And the first 2 lines of it, I just love is like a bumblebee rapping in time. Yeah, love is like some butterflies
glad you
dancing in a
remember the
line.
words.
Love is like a bumblebee rapping in time. Those 2 lines, and I sang them again and again and again until we had a toilet break, and I could sneak off with the phone, get the dictaphone on the phone, and just sing that into it.
Yeah.
And then I could
So you got that.
I can relax now, because back in the day I would have done it. I had nothing to record it on. And what I found is if I sang something repetitively for at least an hour, I would then later in the day forget it and feel gutted. But sometimes I'd wake up the next morning and there it was.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'd lost it. So that happens. But mostly I think it goes through chords. And then what I get into is the construction of a song. So with this new song we're doing with John's riff in it, bass riff in it, what I'm trying to work really hard on at the moment is how do I construct this into a song?
Yeah.
So we've got a versey bit, got a chorusy bit, but how does it come into a song?
Yeah.
And that's my bit. And as for words for that song, I'm bloody clue. But we're getting there. We're getting there.
That will come.
Right,
That will
I reckon
come.
we ought to finish because I'm trying to make these about 15, 20 minutes long because I figure we'll bore people rigid otherwise. But thank you very much for being on here. I was never
Pleasure.
expecting you to be the first person, but there you are. That's good. That's good. And
It can only improve.
things can only get better. That's the way I see
It's a
it.
song there somewhere.
I think so. Yes. Okay, thank you very much, Brad. Say goodbye.
Bye-bye.
And see you soon.